Hello. Yeah, hello. This is just a practice video in the sense that it's a video compilation of a bit of animation practice work that I've done over the past few months. And I just wanted to show off and talk about it a bit. But also I do just want to talk a bit about like the process that I've gone through with these and also a bit about why I decided to make the animations that I have, why I decided to practice in this way, and what I'd like to do from here on. So to begin with, got this first animation of a ball dropping, a ball bouncing, in fact, which is pretty classic for animation. And I thought I had to start with this. This is very close to the beginning of me picking up hand-drawn animation properly. So as you can see, the line work is not great, but then at the end there, the ball starts feeling a lot tougher than the previous bounces suggested, which is basically just because I got lazy and didn't draw any more frames. But that was because my dexterity at the time was not good enough to draw circles and ovals exactly the way I wanted. And even now, it's not that good, but it's much better than it used to be. But yeah, I had to start with this. By the way, there was a YouTube video that I kind of followed for some of these practice ideas. So I will put that link in the description. Anyone interested in animation should definitely check it out. Okay, then moving on to the next piece that I did. This is kind of a set of walking animations. So I wanted to learn how to do a walk cycle, and I did quite a few to kind of get myself to a point that I was satisfied with. So I started with, as you can see, like a really shoddy one. Then I moved on to a slightly more fleshed out one where it was just a stick man. I wanted to figure out the motions of like the bones first. And I'd seen elsewhere that that could be a useful technique for like drawing the human figure. So I was like, I might as well try. Also, I had a bit of a fear of like actually going ahead and drawing a person because it's quite difficult with no practice. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that one turned out in comparison to the first one. And then the final few are a bunch where I was trying to just make a bit more fleshed out walk cycle. So the one on the right, I think, is the one that I made first. Then the one I can't remember out of the middle and the left one which one I made second, but the one on the right was obviously just a practice without arms, and the one on the left a similar thing but lower frame rate, and then the one in the middle was the one where I tried to do it as seriously as possible. I think for figuring out that walk cycle, I used a video from the YouTuber Dong Chang. I will put that YouTuber's video in the description as well. It was really good. His channel is great as well for animation in general, but particularly for anime related stuff, particularly in like for figuring out how to learn animation for use in industry. It's a great resource, his channel. So I definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's pretty much a summary of these pieces. The most difficult thing was actually getting the body's proportions to stay consistent. But the motion itself, I mean, not like it was easy, but I'm way more used to figuring out how to make motion work in comparison to drawing it. So the drawing it was the hard part, not the motion. So now we have the next practice thing I did, which, um, as you can probably tell by the visuals, took a very short amount of time. Um, I think I probably did this in a day, so it was a very quick practice exercise. But it's called the magic dot. It's apparently a relatively well-known exercise, and it's exclusively for practicing motion through spacing, timing, and easing. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I think it turned out pretty nice. I mean, it's just a practice animation, so it's not supposed to be incredible or anything, but I mean, it definitely helped me get a bit more used to drawing motion. I quite enjoyed doing this. It's just nice to see the dot like whiz around the screen. The second half of this, as you can see, is kind of just inverted colors. I thought it would be cool if I could turn it into a loop one way or another. The important thing to mention here is that this is another practice technique that I saw in that one guy's video. In fact, let me go and check the name now because I have forgotten and I feel bad. The guy's name is Alex Grigg. The channel name is Alex Grigg Animation for Anyone. Obviously, I'll still put the video and a link to this channel in the description. Great resource for learning how to do animation in general. This channel is incredible. This one is another magic dot exercise. This time I just wanted to do things with different shapes. So you can see there's like a lot of rectangular action, some wavy stuff going on. I just wanted to try it differently, but it's basically for the same purpose as the previous one. So we can skip over this quickly. Now, here is another piece. This one, I think the name of it is Morph. It is literally just finding a way to kind of abuse animation to literally morph between different shapes. I kept mine very simple. And off the top of my head, it took way longer than it should have for this outcome, but I think it was still a good exercise. It's still useful to be able to kind of find an in-between for anything, which I think is the point of this. And you can do it in very interesting ways. I kept mine very simple. I didn't want it to take long, and I think it still took longer than I wanted it to. But yeah, moving on. Now we get to an exercise that wasn't really following any guidance or tutorial. I just wanted to draw somebody crouching. And so I drew and animated somebody crouching. I used a reference for like the final crouching pose because I was like, what kind of crouch do I want to do? I'm not really sure. But I used the same method here as for the walking animation previously, where I used like a skeleton kind of and then flesh it out. The first crouching one was kind of just a bit of a, I don't know, I just wanted to draw something that looked like it was crouching quickly. So I took a bit of an easy way out for the first one, but it got my pen flowing. So it worked out in the end. In terms of how these practices have been going in general, I'd say by now I had gotten much more used to, or I was starting to get used to animating stuff using lines instead of just sprites. But my line quality and line confidence here was still quite poor. This was also before I had gone out of my way to do any proper drawing practice. So you can tell that that's definitely the reason. But also I did kind of like this thicker, uneven line style. You'll see in the next few practice animations that changed because the next one in particular and the one after that both took quite a long time to do. And so by then I had done a lot of drawing practice. Now, here we have a head turn thing. I think I asked on a Discord server for some advice, and they gave me a few different ideas, and this might have been one of them. I think the initial bold line sketch probably took less than a day to do, but then everything from there took a long time. The design changed a bit. I think at some point while I was making this as well, I drew Android 17, I think. An Android 17 kind of, I guess, fan out. I wanted to make this look like him, so I tried. And you can see in like the first few frames, it kind of does look like him, but then by the end, not really sure. I think my issue here was figuring out how to keep the same 3D model, kind of. The 3D model that I was trying to represent with my 2D animation. I wanted to keep it the same at the beginning as at the end, and I don't think I did that very well. Like the nose and mouth and stuff wasn't really there at all in the beginning. So that is something that I would like to get better and improve on in the future for sure. Now, this animation was the first one in which I used a video reference, and that video reference was my own hand. So I quickly took a video of my hand doing this hand clutch motion, and then I animated it over a while. This took a while, to be honest, but I very much like how it turned out. And I don't know if you can tell, the first frame, the line quality is very bad, and then it quickly improves. And that is because I took on the advice of doing my lines in one go as much as possible throughout the rest of the piece. And it really helped to make it look cleaner. As well, the speed of my production like really increased in the second half. Actually, I don't think I should give exact timelines because it's quite shameful how long this took in total, but the point is that the second half took way, 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 way less time to do than the first half. And maybe that was just because I was used to doing it by then. But yes, I very much like this one. I like how smooth it looks. I like how 3D as well, especially the fingers feel. I did want to do a cleaned up version of this because this is technically still a sketch. But then I decided that would probably take too long, and I think that's definitely a good idea because if it took me so long to do a rough animation, then rough animations is what I need to practice. When I want to do clean animations, it's going to take me way, way, way longer. I need the skill of being able to do a rough animation fast first. That's the final thing I have to show. I think somewhere along the way, one of my practice videos like got lost because I had some issues with my old laptop, so that data just disappeared. I think this is still a pretty good representation of my progress. The important thing for me with these practice animations was, I mean, originally I wanted to get a lot of them out in a short amount of time. That ended up not really panning out very well. But most importantly, I wanted to start getting used to doing hand-drawn animation. And I think I very much accomplished that goal. I think this was a great start, and I am proud of how far I've come from the beginning. That's about it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.